my name's Juliet. I'm the reading doctor for this week. This week's theme is cookbooks. After reading, cooking and baking is my next favourite thing in life. So I brought along some of my favourite cookbooks. I've got probably about 150 cookbooks, which I know is by some standards not a lot, but you know, it's a good amount. So over my many years of cooking, there's some recipes that I just keep coming back to. So I've picked some things that are favourites of mine, favourites of people, my family, my colleagues that I bake for. My first book is called The Taste of Country Cooking. This is by Edna. She's a really well-renowned American chef, author and teacher, and particularly well known for her southern cooking. Southern cooks have sweet tooths, and there's some amazing layer cakes in here, and there's a cake I make every year for my birthday called caramel layer cake, which is essentially a white sponge cake absolutely smothered in what is really what we would call Russian fudge. It is delicious and it requires a sweet tooth, of which I have. She writes recipes beautifully, and there's a sentence in here when she talks about noticing whether your cake is cooked or not, and she says also listen for any quiet noises from the cake. If there are none, that's a sign that it is done. And there's just beautiful elements that she brings to her writing. So that is my first recipe, caramel layer cake from Edna. A conversation about baking wouldn't be complete without Nigella Lawson. This is a pretty early edition of How to Be a Domestic Goddess. I can't tell you how many recipes I've made out of here. The one that I've chosen for today is just actually her Victoria sponge, which is a pretty, very well-known cake, but you can fill it with so many different things. And I have made the Boston cream pie, which is essentially a custard in the middle with a chocolate icing, but layer it up with whipped cream and lemon curd, and that is the best. But there are so many things in here that I've made, and all of them have worked for me, so I thoroughly recommend Nigella. In January 2019, I went to San Francisco with some book selling colleagues, and we made a special visit to Tartine, which is the cafe based on books of the same name. This book, Tartine, this is the second edition. I also do have the first edition. This has got the most requested recipe, which is the Tartine morning bun, which is a glorious confection rolled in cinnamon sugar. I confess to not having made the morning bun, but something I do make from here every year is their fruit and nut cake, which I make for my mum for Christmas. And it is more fruit and nut than anything else. As you can see, it's really densely laden with beautiful things, and I find with dried fruit, the more you spend on dried fruit, the better the quality will be. Delicious on its own, delicious with a wedge of cheese or a glass perhaps of dry sherry, just the best. A recent purchase is the Plain Cake Appreciation Society, which my colleagues have been the beneficiaries of a few of these recipes. Tilly is an Australian baker. It is a beautifully styled and beautifully produced book, and whilst the cakes don't look plain, they really are plain in their ingredients and in their methods. A lot of them are the mix and melt method, so they're not time intensive. The one that I made recently, and this is a good one for this time of year because strawberries are in season, is the strawberry streusel cake, which is a basic vanilla cake layered with fresh strawberries and then with a crumb on top. I don't know about you, but I adore streusel cakes, so I'm thoroughly recommending this one. And finally, Ladies a Plate, Traditional Home Baking by Alexa Johnston. This came out in about 2010, so I've been baking from this for some time. There was a great follow-up called Ladies a Plate, A Second Helping, which has an incredible lemon drizzle cake in it. And there's also a puddings book, but the recipes that I've made out of here the most, which I've cooked for my family time and time again, and I know that there's 1,000 recipes for fudge cake, but this is a very good fudge cake. Next to that I have a cutout from the newspaper of a Margie's lemon shortcake, which was in an Alison Holst column from the paper, so that would be getting on a bit as well. That again is a beautiful cake, and I bake for Good Bitches Baking, the charity that spreads kindness around, and that is a really, really good bitches bake. And just finally, I'll just throw in the gingerbread biscuits. This is a recipe for a rolled gingerbread biscuit dough for Christmas, and I've made this year on year on year. Easy to make, keeps well, and just one of those recipes that goes into the sort of the family archive. So those are my top 5 baking books, and the recipes that I return to, and the authors that I love to read.